Money isn't real, and if you think you understand this, you don't, and here's why. You probably understand that money has no intrinsic value, but almost no one understands the extent to which this is true. Sure, money is just pieces of paper. It itself doesn't have value, and neither does gold, which is just a random metal, even if it happens to be rare. Small tribes will trade stuff like precious flowers, and even though these things have no inherent value, they have to at least exist, right? Wrong. There was one tribe that traded ownership of a statue as their currency, and while you could say the ownership was in people's heads, the statue did actually exist. But that was until they had a flood and they tried to transport the statue and it ended up sinking. Left on new land, you would expect this tribe's economy to collapse or for them to have to get a new statue, but what happened was they kept trading ownership of the statue that they didn't even have. The statue was underwater and literally could have disintegrated by now, yet they still traded ownership of the statue as if it did exist. And the point here is that currency or money never needs to be backed by anything real. All it needs to be backed by is the fact that everyone agrees that this is what we're calling valuable, even if that thing doesn't exist in reality.
Thank you, my good sire. Now that I show you this, I can finally say this, because at first I wanted to establish this, and I wanted you guys to basically see that money is useless. Money really has no backing. The only reason it's valuable is because we all come together and agree that it has value. Now that we know that, most of us hoping we agree with this, we need to abolish money. And I understand that some of you, that it's a very hard concept to grasp, because you some fucking how you view money as oxygen, which again, it's kind of absurd and a little bit silly and ridiculous to me, because you see money as, well, that's how society is running. Not really. Society is still going to function without money, because it's not really money that's keeping us productive. It's the goods and services, and the fact that our biology is going to kick in, and it's going to remind us that we humans still got to keep producing these goods and services, whether money is in the picture or not. And another argument that I hear is that money is how we show value, in the sense that, hey, well, let's say I'm the government, or I'm the senator or president, and I go out of my way to make a shit ton of money, basically print it or put it digitally, make a shit ton, and basically convey it, put it into a position that is very important, which, let's say that would be doctors, or let's say constructioners, and I get them a shit ton more money than, let's say, a server. But that is a very bad way to show that you find that person valuable. And I'll explain how. Because long-term wise, you're actually making it worse. You do find it very, very important, but that doesn't mean that you just give that person more money. No, because it's a bad way to go about it. Because the moment you give that person more money, you're essentially giving them more access to resources, more things that really they shouldn't be having. And keep in mind, resources, like I implied, resources, physical resources, are finite. We cannot create them. We cannot make snap our fingers and make more of them. So you're making a really big risk by giving, because you want to show that you see them see that person valuable. And by that doing that is that you're going out of your way to take the resources, which I established that are finite, and you're giving them mostly to them. And if that's how you're essentially making them to where they can see that you find them valuable, that it's a very, like, it's working, but it's not going to work in the way you're perceiving it. How can I put it in better words? Because for that person, all they would have to do is just ask for more resources, aka more money. And what that's going to result to is them hoarding more of the physical resources, which I implied that they are finite, and we cannot just snap our fingers and make more of it. We don't have the tech in this period of time, unfortunately. And you're basically making it where you can possibly doom society. Because if we get to a point that we don't have enough resources, because you gave it basically mostly to show value to that particular person that you needed that position filled up for, then you're dooming society potentially, because what about the rest of the people who need those resources? Now you're creating a imbalance. So